After the 7 Years' War, Great Britain had not only gained the lands of Canada and that east of the Mississippi River, but accumulated a large sum of debt. With this gain of land, the threat of Indian attacks grew as well. In order to pay off debts and protect the colonies, British Parliament decided that they needed to tax the colonists. On March 22, 1765, British Parliament passed the Stamp Act, putting a tax on all paper goods. Anything from legal documents to even playing cards were taxed. Some colonists thought nothing of the act, while others showed serious frustration. The act had been passed without any consultation with the legislatures of the colonies. The colonists had no influence on the Parliament's decision, which fueled the formation of the Stamp Act Congress in New York in October of 1765.
The Stamp Act Congress was a meeting with 9 of the 13 colonies in order to try and unite to take action against the British Parliament. James Otis, a Patriot lawyer, called for the Congress to meet in order to reach a solution to the problem. The most known saying during this time was,
"No taxation without representation."
Every colony except Georgia, North Carolina, New Hampshire, and Virginia attended the Congress. This was the first representative meeting of the 13 colonies, and although at first accomplished nothing, it gained importance over time. This meeting was quickly separated into two sides, the radicals and the moderates. The radicals often were those who called for action. Many colonial radicals wanted to fight to get what they wanted, and felt that talking it out would get you nowhere. Moderates often felt that nonviolent protest was best. In the Congress, moderates often talked about boycotting British goods or sending a letter to the king.
The result of the Stamp Act Congress was the Stamp Act Resolves. This Declaration of Rights included 14 resolutions developed by the representatives from the colonies, as well as several petitions, specifically targeted for taxation by the Parliament. All colonial legislators approved and signed the document with the exception of one, William Ruggles of Massachusetts. The document was later rejected by the king, as British Parliament thought of the Congress as an unconstitutional assembly.
Throughout the Stamp Act Resolves, the colonists constantly reference the rights and liberties that they do have as citizens under the king. In point 2, it states that His Majesty's liege subjects in these colonies are entitled to all the inherent rights and liberties of his natural-born subjects within the Kingdom of Great Britain. In other words, it is stating that the colonists have the same rights as those living in Great Britain and therefore should be treated the same way. Unfortunately, Parliament had violated these rights by taxing them without them having representation in the government. Overall, although the Stamp Act Congress did not have a huge influence on the British Parliament, their efforts would later be extremely valuable. Parliament had rejected the Stamp Act Resolves because they felt that they were inappropriate and disregarded Parliament's right to issue taxes on the colonies. However, the Stamp Act was repealed in March of 1766 due to the colonists' boycotting of British goods and the harassment of many tax collectors. The greatest benefit of the Congress was the fact that they were able to gather and debate as a whole. This Congress helped to begin to unite the colonies, which would be a valuable skill for the country once the American Revolution came around. The colonies had very little power individually, but united, they would later be able to defeat the British forces.